Hi, I'm Charlie Brunsinger from Talon.One, and today I want to talk a little bit about our new Shopify app. If you go to the Shopify App Store and search up Talon.One, you're not going to find us. This is not because the app is not released, it's because we are a public unlisted app. So you will need the link to actually show up on our page, but it is otherwise available to anyone with the link. The app is designed to work with a new feature Shopify has introduced called Network Access for Discount Functions. And that feature is typically only available to enterprise merchants. There is value available from the app if you are not on enterprise. So there's a whole bunch of data connection that happens that can enable the app to be used for a loyalty ledger use case. It gives you the flexibility of Talon.One's loyalty ledgers in the Shopify ecosystem, but because we cannot be looped into the actual transactions as they're being made, we can't be the ones who actually give the rewards. So in the end, the rewards in such a program do have to be promotions that Shopify is capable of issuing. And there can be some handshake going on. Say when somebody reaches a threshold, we auto create a coupon in Shopify for that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, those promotions are run by Shopify. Whereas when you have network access for discount functions, Talon.One can be the source of truth for everything incentives. One final note about the app is this is a new bit of technology for both Shopify and Talon.One. We do expect to find some edges that still need enhancement. And on the Talon.One side, you can rest assured that we're constantly making changes. So some of the stuff I'm going to take you through today will be automated or not relevant in the very near future, but I want to make sure that everybody's enabled if they were to find this today and get going. Talon.One has put together a comprehensive set of documentation that can take you through the initial setup. It really does start on the Shopify side with just clicking the install button in the App Store. But before you can connect the data together, you will need to create certain attributes in your Talon.One application so that the information makes sense to both sides. So our documentation can take you through that process. However, I do encourage you to reach out to the Talon.One team. We do have some tools that can make this process a bit quicker. Installing an app from the Shopify store creates a simple interface for an admin to configure the connection between the two services, but there is a lot more going on under the hood. On the Shopify side, there are a number of webhooks that have always existed, which Talon.One is registering and passing through to our own Google PubSub queue in order to listen to any updates about products, customers, orders, even returns, in order to make sure that information is kept in sync as quickly as possible. Those webhooks work on Shopify Plus just as well as in an enterprise environment with network access calls. The network access calls are specifically tied to the discount function inside of cart and checkout evaluation, where suddenly Shopify is allowing other systems to get involved in that processing. And when they reach out in a very standard format. So Talon.One is providing a middleware service that handles processing that, converting it into Talon.One update customer session calls, receiving the effects back, and converting those back into a layout that the discount function understands. Shopify created the hook, allowing these calls to be made to a third-party system. However, the actual code that runs inside that discount function is part of the app that we are embedding when you install. We also have information being synced on a customer level. We have an extra job in place for customers when they are logged in and identified during their browsing session. There's no actual hook when a customer logs in. So while we are making sure information is synced on create and update, we also want to make sure anything that might have updated on the Talon.One side is pushed back into the Shopify ecosystem as quickly as possible when we know that customer is actively engaged. We also handle Strikethrough notifications. Strikethrough in Talon.One is a standard way of populating product labels and metadata. And There's a natural home for that kind of information in variant meta fields on the Shopify side. So we are getting all updates about products through the middleware, and that powers the catalog on the Talon.One side, which then enables you to go through and populate strike-through rules like labeling products as available as part of a bundle, or how many points you'll earn if you buy that product, or even strike-through pricing. Um, all of those are things you can communicate through the engine, regardless of whether you have network access for discount functions. However, those first two examples are prime examples of things that you might be able to do even in a Plus environment with no real headaches. Other information we make sure to sync up is the information about Shopify products and variants. Whenever a product is created, updated, or deleted, that information is populated through the middleware in order to update a Talon.One catalog. With those catalog updates, that means we can power our strike-through engine, which in addition to strike-through pricing can be used for various product labeling use cases. For example, communicating how many points a customer is eligible to earn if they buy a product, or highlighting that there's a discount available in conjunction with a coupon code. Those are examples that you can run even in a Shopify Plus environment, which has not been granted network access for discount functions. These are front-end enhancements that allow you to communicate on collection pages, listing pages, or product detail pages. We power these experiences by modifying the meta fields on the products and their variants in Shopify. So that information is available anywhere that you can access the product information from Shopify's dataset. Once you've created those attributes in Talon.One and installed the app from the Shopify store, you will be able to set up the app here in the Shopify admin. All you'll need is an API key from your Talon.One application. This is going to be an integration API key selected to be used with a third party with the Shopify selected. Then you'll need the URL for your Talon.One deployment, and optionally but strongly recommended, a catalog ID. It's important to note this catalog ID does need to be added to the application where you generated that integration API key. Once you have these connected, you can click the connect button to make sure you've tested everything and the credentials work, and then you'll be asked by Shopify up top to save your changes. That will actually automatically start the data flowing, especially if you have that catalog ID in place. We'll start syncing product catalogs immediately. For this demo, I am assuming we have access to network access for discount functions. And so the next piece of the puzzle is making sure that Shopify is configured to contact Talon.One during checkout. We do that by creating a discount inside of Shopify, and specifically having the app installed. When you click the Create Discount button, you will have the option to create Talon.One discounts. When you do that, you can put in any title you want, put any date that starts before now, and select, we recommend, all three of product, orders, and shipping. We do support them all. There's no reason not to enable them all, as long as you have any interest in possibly doing that. Once you've created that, your discounts page will have a discount active. It will show you which types and combinations are available, and you'll be good to go. As our docs will walk you through, you will need to connect up a session ID to Talon.One. This is a version of the card ID, and it will need to be added in different ways depending on how you have set up your Shopify storefront. I will take you through an example of a liquid storefront, but most of our clients who are using this will be on headless storefronts. We do have an example where we've done this on our side, but every headless storefront will be a bit different. At the end of the day, what you're really doing is modifying the GraphQL query that gives these discount functions in Shopify its context in order to make sure the context we need is passed along. Our demo store is using a liquid storefront, so I'll come through and customize this real quick. And with a liquid storefront, you do get the benefit of an app embed. So we have a loyalty sync app embed, which you can just toggle on, and that will automatically make sure that when a customer is identified, Talon.One is contacted, and we make sure Shopify has the most up-to-date information in the customer meta field. We're still enhancing this app embed. So in terms of the session ID, I'm going to show you an example of doing this manually with code. But in the near future, you'll be able to toggle this on and also get the session ID synced, which is great for development and testing purposes. You can have this Liquid storefront on your Shopify dev stores, even if you are a headless store, just to make sure the data is flowing and you gain some confidence in the connection. Today, if you want to make the code-based change, you can come through and edit code, and we can provide an example of a Liquid snippet that you can create, which is our cart integration. Bear in mind, this was generated with AI, so while it works fine for demo purposes, we'd encourage you to take a look if you're trying to use this for anything meaningful in terms of production. And once you have that snippet created, you just add a section to your theme to make sure you render it on all pages. With the session ID being communicated to Talon.One, we're ready to actually send data back and forth and have discounts populate. In order to make that meaningful, I have some examples already built in a demo environment. So I have a point per dollar being earned on every transaction for every user. I have a code ski free, which gives 5% off power banks. I have another coupon code that gives 10% off your order site-wide because we just launched a new lineup. This code is 6shred. And we also have an evergreen bundle. If you buy a snowboard and an accessory, the only accessory we actually have is wax, we'll go ahead and give you a discount on the wax. Now, in this, there is some Talon.One magic that's really making this a lot more effective than you've historically been able to leverage in Shopify. Specifically with Talon.One, we build up bundles based on cart item filters, which are very generic ways of capturing qualifying items and reusing those as selectors in a bundle definition. So we have any snowboard coming through here and any accessory coming together to create the snowboard care bundle, at least one of each. Once you have that, you can then make a rule in Talon.One that says if you have at least one bundle, then let's go ahead and provide half off the wax across the bundle. This is done on a pro rata basis, so the larger portion of the discount will be applied to the snowboard. If you return the wax after the fact, you'll only get a few cents back rather than the whole value. So with those 4 campaigns active, we can come back to our storefront and actually trigger a cart that goes through all of them. First, I will go ahead and add a power bank to my cart. That's going to be using that ski free code. And then I want to trigger the snowboard bundle. So I need to add a snowboard and the wax to my cart. And when I go to checkout, we'll see that Shopify is reaching out to Talon.One as we enter checkout and figuring out which effects to apply. We have the bundle as an auto-applied offer, and so that's already being calculated by Talon.One. This is all dynamically calculated, so if we change which wax we're purchasing, we can get a different result. So we'll go ahead and purchase the bigger one. And we only have to create the single bundle definition in order to get both of these recognized as valid bundles and computing dynamic values for each. But we also have the coupon codes being run by Talon.One. So ski free will target that power bank. And we have 6shred, which is targeting the order total as a whole. And with all of that calculated, if we're happy with our order, we can go ahead and complete the purchase. So hopefully this has given you an idea of how the Talon.One Shopify app can be set up and how it can bring value to our mutual clients. One of the things that you will note is I only showed off native discount type use cases. So things that Shopify understands and would apply on its own with some extra logic attached to them. But something like loyalty points we're not showing during the checkout because Shopify doesn't have a native way to show that off. And that's where our partners can step in and bring a lot of value. There's a lot of different use cases that can happen elsewhere in the journey, on the product detail and listing pages, collection pages, in cart, on custom loyalty dashboards and things like that. The data is still flowing. All of Talon.One effects are available in the Shopify ecosystem as a result of this connection, but those are left as exercises to the reader because Talon.One is a headless system at the end of the day. So figuring out the best ways to present those to users and working with your clients to give the brand experience that they want is one of the big value adds that Talon.One brings to this equation over an out-of-the-box solution that already exists in the space. Thanks again for your time, and I hope you enjoyed.